There's a story coming out of Washington, D.C. right now that if most of the American people knew about it, they would be furious. They would be losing their minds. But, of course, the mainstream media, the legacy media, they are all keeping it very quiet at the behest of the government. It's something that is going to make a lot of people lose their mind when they realize what's happened. All of that money that got spent way back in 2020, the U.S. government is now going to claw it back. And not just from everybody equally. No, they're going to pick and choose who they take the money from. In today's video, we're going to show you one group, and it's literally going to make you sick to your stomach. But the net effect, once you're over the emotion of it, is a lot of people, and I mean a huge percentage of the population of this country, is going to be forced into the underground economy. Meaning making money where it's not on tax forms or maybe no longer even filing taxes. You see, that's going to be the key. Oh, Florida Monkey, I'll file my taxes. I'll just keep this pile of cash over. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to because it's not going to make any sense how you're able to live where you live, claiming the amount of money that you say you make. They'll figure it out right away. But first, I always want to be diligent, and I always want to be thankful to all of you who have joined us over at the Florida Monkey Patreon channel. I've set it at the lowest allowable level of $1 per month. I get emails from Patreon all the time. Florida Monkey, most of our creators set a minimum level of $3. You really should do that. A lot of folks have seen, a lot more success that way. I want my channel available to everyone I can possibly make it available to, so that people can understand the techniques, the in detail techniques that are being used by the media to hide things like this from you. And when you do find out, how to stay out of your emotions so that you can see 3 and 4 and 5 moves down the road. $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable. Fully guaranteed. First 90 days, you have absolutely no chance of losing anything. You can pay $1 first month, $1 second month, $1 third month. And on day 89, if you say, hey, it hasn't been for me, $3 right back at you. Nothing lost. We can partner with Vimeo, take the gloves off, and warning, next 48 hours, we're going to put up a video that's going to show some of the details that probably would make a lot of people, revile and recoil from the underground economy. Because it's an ugly place, folks. But it might be the only place to survive. Now, in today's video here, a couple days ago, we covered in a live stream the governor talking about Florida banning the use of CBDCs, that is central bank digital currencies. It's basically the government form of cryptocurrency. Why? Because it gives the government the ability to track every dime you spend, where and when and on whom and what. It would be virtually impossible using CBDCs for you to have any discretionary income whatsoever. And then based on what you believe and what you think, they can control you. That's why it's being banned in Florida. But here's what they're doing. Here's what they're doing to distract you from what's really going on. The decision that I talked about that's been made in Washington, D.C., doesn't really have to do with CBDCs. It has to do with, this is the technique they're going to use. But what's their ultimate goal? You see, U.S. launches airstrike in Syria. North Korea unveils radioactive weapon. Syria attacked by Iran proxy forces after retaliatory Russia-China gas deal. All this stuff about the wars over there is nothing compared to what was reported by angry cops earlier today. They are planning to take money away from disabled veterans. What? I didn't hear that. I don't want to take any of this guy's thunder away. Angry cops, we haven't agreed on everything in the past. In this particular case, he's absolutely right. There's a plan out there to take money away, money that was promised ahead of time. As part of when you sign up for the military, you look at all the benefits, you look at all the advantages, the disadvantages, and you're like, well, gosh, you have all these, once you're in and out, I mean, they're going to take care of this, and this. And so you make a decision. And being in the military isn't all roses and sunshine, but you look down the road, you think, once I'm done, this is going to be taken care of. And if this happens, that's going to be taken care of. And I have all these things, all these promises that were made that are going to make my life easier down the road. That's why I'm suffering now. Well, guess what? Now they're reneging on the deal. They're going to start clawing money back, taking money away from disabled veterans. Now, if you want the details, it's a real easy channel to find. Angry Cops. He's got 1.25 million subscribers. Way bigger, 10 times the size of mine. He's got huge amounts of followers. But once again, I'm sure the vast majority of my audience has no idea about this. This is what they do. Most of the channels I watch don't even show up in my own newsfeed. Now, he talks about how this particular decision by the Congressional Budget Office is going to cause a great deal of veterans, disabled veterans who are working now, to stop working so that they can fall under the threshold to keep their benefits. That's part of it. But it's also going to cause a lot of disabled veterans to seek work in the shadow economy. Now, who remembers? Last year and a half, I have been talking about there are going to be situations that couples face, that people face, that there are no good answers to. This is a scene, of course, from Colony, where just to survive and just to keep the lights on and to keep the wolves from the door, people are going to have to make decisions they never thought they had to make. Now, for here on YouTube, I had to keep it kind of PG-13. I had to use the scenario of, this particular person had to take a job in the evenings working at an old bar that she used to work at and make some cash, tips, and use that cash, that underground economy, to help fill the gap. Well, you see, we have to have Patreon so we can talk about what the reality is. In today's economy, in the world right now, there are going to have to be decisions that are far worse than this. And basically, I guess the code is just a lemonade stand. Your first criminal enterprise. That's why is a lemonade stand a criminal enterprise? Well, simple. You're not allowing the government to take part of your quarter per glass of lemonade. And you can just boil it down to that. If somebody has a quarter and you have a glass of lemonade and you give them the glass of lemonade and they give you the quarter and the government doesn't get a part of it, you're a criminal. And oh, by the way, yesterday's video, some people asked, believe it or not, this is OnlyFans. Some people are like, OnlyFans is terrible. Don't you know what goes on there? This is OnlyFans. See, there's all sorts of jobs out there. Here's a millennial money man, 22 same-day pay jobs. Apply and get paid as soon as possible. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard these options. DoorDash, Instacart, Uber Eats, MyPoints, bookkeeping, proofreading, all these different things. And of course, they dress up the website and make it look all sorts of nice. But there is a difference the government sees between tax avoidance, which is a legal attempt to arrange one's economic affairs so as to pay the least possible tax. Example, buying municipal bonds because they yield tax-free interest, or tax evasion, meaning that you didn't think about it ahead of time, and now you owe taxes, and now you're trying to figure out a way, to not pay them. 25 odd jobs that make good money. See, they've tried to dress this up. Sorry about that, wrong picture, but we'll talk about that in another video. This coming volatility and uncertainty and complexity and ambiguity, it's going to force people financially. Now, not just because of inflation, but because of the federal government. It's going to force them to try to bring money in a way that can't be tracked, that can't be found out by the government. Because it's not just about the paying of the taxes, it's about where they're spending their money. You know, maybe they give some of their money every week or every month to a church that doesn't necessarily agree with what the federal government's doing. Well, guess what? That might cost them. That might cause the IRS to maybe take a closer look at, their finances. They might find themselves in the crosshairs of an audit simply because of their political beliefs. Maybe they raise their kids in a way that the public schools don't like. Maybe they homeschool their kids. You see, over the last year and a half, a lot of people have rolled their eyes and given me a little bit of grief about my suggestion that people go watch Black Sails if they want to really understand what cryptocurrency is about. Go watch Revolution, go watch Defiance, go watch Colony. If you want to see groups of people having to make decisions that compromise their values in order to survive, that's really the key. It's not something that Americans are used to. Americans are used to being the moral king of the mountain, so to speak. Everybody else is way below us morally, and we are the moral peak, the moral summit of the world. And everything we do is, smelling like roses. Well, guess what? Guess what's coming to America? We're not. The reality of us not. And some people are like, well, I'll go live in a tent in the forest. Some people don't have that option. See, if you're a disabled veteran, you don't have the ability. If you've lost a leg in combat, lost an arm in combat. This is a quote from Colony. I'm not the man I was. I learned you got to do things to survive in this world and make compromises. And the guy's character wife, we live in a moment where we do what we have to do for the people that we love. The old rules just don't apply. Great article from 2009, Christian Science Monitor. America's shadow economy is bigger than you think and growing. Back in 2009, it was valued at $1 trillion. You got to imagine what it is now. But once again, angry cops, well done. Well done for getting this out there. I wish I could give it as way more traction than my channel has the ability to. Because this is a huge deal. This is a huge deal. The Congressional Budget Office has the ability and the desire now to take money, but to renege on the deal with our veterans. And just take that money back. Just at the stroke of a pen. I mean, talk about stabbing people in the back that, well, I don't want to take away any of this guy's thunder. Angry cop, just search ending VA disability for disabled veterans. Ending VA disability for disabled veterans. They're going to start to means test. And they're doing it based on gross income, not on taxable income. And they don't care how big your household is. Meaning they're going to treat somebody with no kids the same as they treat somebody who has 5 kids. See, I mean, all of this stuff is important. Don't get me wrong. The end of the petrodollar, the radioactive tsunami weapon, the back and forth over there. It's important. It's important, but getting forced into the underground economy when you don't want to be, that's going to really change Americans' lives. It's going to change America in a way that is going to make this country look a lot more like Africa, which, by the way, very ironically, is a capitalist's paradise. Yes, that's right. You go to Africa, you can buy anything with virtually zero interference from the government. And they have all sorts of different currencies. They even trade in diamonds, they trade in gold, they trade in all sorts of different things over there, and there is nothing that is off the table. If you've got enough money, depending on where you're at, you can get anything you want, including people. So I'll leave it there. God bless. Everyone have a great weekend. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.